Greetings. Welcome to Growth Hacking Show, where we have authors, speakers, business owners, thought leaders, serial entrepreneurs come and share their success secrets and also the missteps to avoid so that way you can grow your business and avoid costly mistakes. Learn from their experiences. In case you don't know me, my name is Mohammed Siddique. I'm the host of Growth Hacking Show and the co-author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. You know, in a business, to grow your business, you have to give immense value to your customers, so that way they love to buy from you and you create influence on them. I'm not saying, this is not my statement. I'm paraphrasing my today's guest, the whole life work almost. So he is the co-author of Go Giver book series. I'm going to share it on the website, and plus they have sold over 1 million copies, so I'm sure it must be very good. And one of his book, Go Giver, is translated in 21 languages. So that way, not knowing the English is not a mistake, like your excuse anymore. You go grab a copy available, and I'm sure that we are here on a treat to learn a lot more from our guest. And he is the sought after speakers and speak on many platforms all around the world. And he has a very popular podcast and also a Facebook Live. So that way, whatever your learning choices, go and actually learn from our guests. Please join me to give a warm welcome to Bob Burg. Bob, welcome.
Thank you, Mohammed. It's such an honor to be with you. Congratulations on your book. I know it's doing very well, and I wish you much continued success with it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bob, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to get on this Go Giver series?
Well, I was very fortunate to be born to a couple of wonderful parents. And I think everything they did, they embodied what I would call the Go Giver way. They were always, they always made sure to bring value to the lives of other people. So I got to actually live a great example in that way. As I got older and as I got into business, I saw a lot of negative examples too. And you see a lot of those. But it always really seemed, Mohammed, that the people who had the most successful businesses and the most sustainably successful businesses always seemed to be people who understood that it was important to be focused on other people, to move from what we would call an I focus or a me focus to an others focus. In other words, looking to make your win all about the other person's win. And the people who did that, they attracted people to them, and they developed relationships where people knew them, they liked them, they trusted them, they wanted to be in relationship with them, they wanted to do business with them, they wanted to refer them to others. So I was very fortunate to be exposed to a lot of great examples.
Oh, wonderful. That is amazing. And since we have been connected and trying to schedule this interview, I had one question in my mind. I need to clear it off before we move on to this. The people who are, as you are teaching others, and of course, Go Giver is a good thing. People who are very good in giving, most of them are not good in receiving on the other side. So most of the giver becomes the broke at the end. So how do you?
So, there are 5 laws in the book. In the book, it's a story. It's a parable co-authored with John David Mann, who's a wonderful author and storyteller. I was very fortunate to have the privilege to work with John. But there are 5 laws. And one of them is the law of value, which is, your focus on, again, bringing value to everyone whose lives you touch. Then there's the law of compensation, which says your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So it's not just a matter of just doing nice things, but it's a matter of being able to do business with people and be able to serve them. Now, 3, the law of influence. Your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. This is not about being self-sacrificial or a martyr. It's about understanding that in the marketplace, people do business with you for their reasons, right? When I speak to at a sales conference, I'll often say, nobody's going to buy from you because you have a quota to meet. And we all laugh because we know that's true. No one's going to buy from us because we have a quota to meet, or we have a mortgage payment, or we need the money. They're going to buy from someone because they believe they'll be better off by doing so than by not doing so. Now, law number 4 is about authenticity. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. But now let's really answer the question you just asked. And it's a great question, because law number 5 is the law of receptivity. And this says the key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. And at the end of the story, the main mentor, Pindar, asked Joe, the protege, to breathe out and then hold that outgoing breath to the count of 30. Well, Joe tries, but in about 10 seconds, he is struggling for breath. He's gasping for air, and Pindar says, "What's the matter, Joe? Can't do it?" Joe says, "No, I can't just breathe out. I've got to also breathe in." And Pindar jokingly said, "Well, Joe, what if I was to tell you that it's actually been medically proven that it's healthier to breathe out than it is to breathe in?" Joe just laughs, because that's silly. You can't just breathe out. As human beings, we breathe out and we breathe in. We breathe out carbon dioxide. We breathe in oxygen. We breathe out, which is giving. We breathe in, which is receiving. And so, despite the messages of lack that we receive from so much of the world around us, giving and receiving are not opposite concepts. They're simply two sides of the very same coin, and they work best in tandem. In fact, to try and focus on just one side of the equation, giving, without receiving, it's an exercise in futility, because every giving is made possible only because it's also a receiving. Every receiving is made possible only because it's also a giving. It's not a matter of, are you a giver or a receiver? It's, you're a giver and a receiver. But the focus is on the giving, right? That's where it starts. That's why we say money is simply an echo of value. So when you are focused absolutely on bringing or giving value to others, and then you allow yourself to receive, you will receive in abundance. But it's human nature that we can have a difficult time with that. And so many people wrote to John and me after the book came out and said, law 5, the law of receptivity, finally gave me permission to be able to receive. Well, they didn't need our permission, although we were glad that it was helpful. But really, all we were trying to point out is that if you're bringing great value to the world around you, to the marketplace around you, if you're serving people's needs, if you're making life better, easier, faster, richer, better, what have you, for other people, you've earned the right to receive, but you've got to allow yourself to do so.
Very well said. Allow yourself to receive. So be a good receiver at the same time. So
Yes.
that's a great principle.
Muhammad, sometimes it's a matter of flexing the receiving muscles, right? I mean, it's saying thank you when someone pays you a compliment. Yeah. They say, "Wow, you look really nice today." Now you could go, "Oh, no, it's right? You're not receiving." Or you could say, "Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that." Well, that's a nice, or somebody offers to buy your cup of coffee. You could say, "Oh, I couldn't let you do that." Or you could say, "Oh, thank you so much," which doesn't mean you can't buy someone else's cup of coffee. That's great too. But you can also receive when someone offers something to you. And those are those little things we can do because if we can't receive a nice compliment, it's hard to receive a really, really big check for a lot of money.
Wonderful. In fact, little things have a huge impact. So be careful how you.
Yes. Very well said.
Yeah.
Of course, you wrote the book on Success Secrets. So these are things that, that you teach.
Yeah. Bob, thank you so much. Really great. So now my mind is more clear. So let's get going on this. So Bob, what are the top 3 missteps to avoid when it comes to growing your business based on the Go-Giver principles?
In terms of missteps, I'd say it starts with this. It's focusing on yourself and thinking that people are going to buy from you, again, as we talked earlier, because, well, you need them to. They're not. Oh, maybe, your mom or dad will, or a close friend, but you can't make a sustainable living from that, okay? And it doesn't matter how many people feel great about you and love you and so forth, but to have a sustainable business, you've got to know it's never about you. It's the biggest mistake people, Chris Voss, who wrote a wonderful book on negotiating called Never Split the Difference. He said and he was an FBI hostage negotiator for years and years, okay? And he said the biggest mistake in negotiation is to think that the other person is going to do what you want them to do for your reasons. So we've always got to find the other person's reason. So the biggest mistake is not asking questions and discovering, hey, what is selling? Selling is simply discovering what the other person wants, needs, or desires and helping them to get it. Okay? So the only way we can know is by asking questions and then listening. So the biggest mistake people make and when it comes to growing their business is thinking it's about them. Okay? Then it's not asking questions. Okay? And then it's really refusing to continue to learn and continue to read and study and get better at what you're doing, because school is never out for the professional, right? You see people who are these fantastic, wonderful, great salespeople. They're always the ones who are attending, other sales events, and they're in the first row taking notes, right? They're reading books such as yours, New Success Secrets. They're the people who are always continuing to grow themselves.
Wonderful. I'm glad you mentioned the Chris Voss. You won't believe it. This is on my Facebook page. I always quote him from ongoing business. So we are both kind of followers. I watched so many of his podcasts. I learned so much. I took copious notes on that one because there is so much to learn from that negotiation, so that way you are not really trying to hurt others. Just create a collaborative environment where we're both moving the mutual target, so.
I thought his book was magnificent. He was on my podcast too, and he did a great job. And I got to tell you because really, you think about with, the FBI and just go in and get, and like he said, no, that's, it sounds good, but no, that doesn't work. You've got to be able to relate to people on a human level. You've got to have empathy. You've got to try and understand how they're feeling and be able to communicate that you're understanding. Yeah.
Yes. The tactical empathy,
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Bob. So I think now looks like we have even more common to discuss ongoing friendship beyond this podcast. See, this is so. Bob, what are your top 3 success secrets for business growth? Because you are a go-giver, sales.
Well, Mohammed, I think there are 3 secrets for success in anything. Not 3 secrets, so they're not secrets, but just 3 principles that we could use. I mean, I think first we've got to know, and this assumes that we know what it is we want to accomplish. So, I mean, it begins with a desire, right? It begins with knowing really what you want. Napoleon Hill said, all great accomplishment begins with desire. So it's understanding what we want. But once we understand that, now we've got to always seek out and find the system, okay? In other words, someone else has already done it, right? And so instead of trying to what we call reinvent the wheel, which has already been invented, instead of doing that, let's instead look to see who else has already done what we want to do. And that's so very important because, again, someone else has probably already done it. So number 1, I would say, is seek out and find the system. Number 2 is to take action. Take action immediately, because, you can have the best ideas, you can have the greatest thoughts, you can have the best of intention, but without action put into the mix, nothing's going to happen. It simply cannot happen. So we've got to take action on the idea. Don't worry about it being perfect. Make sure you've thought it out and make sure that but don't worry about being perfect. I remember what the great Zig Ziglar once said, that anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you learn how to do it well. And of course, he wasn't saying to go out there and do something poorly on purpose. What he was making the point about was that go out there and just get it done. Just start doing it. And as you do it, you'll get better. And as you do it, you'll make mistakes, but you'll learn and you'll adjust and you'll get a little bit better. And as my dad always taught, build on your small successes and get a little bit better every time. And so So I think that's very important. That's number 2, is take action. And then number 3 is be persistent. I mean, understand that business is filled with no's, it's filled with rejection, it's filled with heartbreak on the way to success. And then even when you've reached a modicum of success, it still doesn't stop if you're growing even further. So, you know, my great friend Andrea Waltz, she and her husband Richard Fenton wrote a great book years ago, another brief parable called Go for No.
Yeah.
And the subtitle was, yes is the destination, no is how you get there. And what they were saying was, you know, just understand, you don't have to like the word no. I don't think anybody does. I don't like being told no, but it's just a part of business. You know, I really think that what drives a lot of people out of business, Muhammad, and I think this is so very important, what drives them out of business isn't that they're told no. It's that they think they're the only ones that are being told no, because they see everybody else. They see the highlight reel of everybody else, and they're seeing their blooper reel because of all the, right? And so they think, oh, I'm the only one that has to go. No, everybody had to go through it. Okay. And so realize that no and rejection and falling flat on your face is part of it. It doesn't have to be fun. Okay. It's not fun, but it's part of it. As long as we know that going in, now we can be prepared for it. Now, when we get a rejection, instead of, oh, no, nobody's interested in it, it's this one person isn't interested in it, but someone else might be. Okay. And so I think those are the big things. And then it's, you know, you kind of surround those 3 principles with, you know, the desire that you have, and then the belief in what you're doing, that it's worthwhile, that it's bringing value to people's lives, that you're able to make a difference, and belief in yourself, that you're worthy of this success, that you're worthy of receiving, as we talked about earlier, receiving success financially, but also receiving success just mentally and emotionally, and feeling good about yourself. So I think all those things are more likely to bring people success.
Amazing. Thank you so much. You were saying about the no, you know, get used to getting no. No is the way to get to the yes, until we learn the Chris Voss way. So turn your questions, all get the no's. No means really yes in that case, you know. So like, is it now a bad time to talk? You know, yeah,
right.
No, that means a yes, basically.
Exactly.
So Bob, how are you growing your own business empire right now?
Well, right now we're expanding. You know, I'm actually speaking less than I was. You know, I'm 61 years old, Muhammad, and I just don't like.
You look very young and smart, at least on camera.
I appreciate that. And so, you know, traveling, I never really enjoyed. I love the speaking business, and I always had to travel a lot. But as I get older, I'm, you know, kind of less willing to do some of those things I don't want to do. So I'm not taking any more than 20 out of state engagements a year. So I'm actually pulling back in terms of that. However, my business partner, Kathy Tajanel, and I are growing the business in 2 different ways. Actually 3. One is that we have a team of certified go-giver speakers. So people purchase the rights to all my intellectual properties that I've developed over the last 30 years. We teach them how to speak on the topic, how to coach on the topic, how to market themselves as speakers. So that's one. Another way we're growing our business is what we call Go-Giver Entrepreneur Academies, which are 2.5-day events that we hold several times a year. We limit them to 10 people because we go very deep into people's business. And then another thing we're doing is we're producing a series of videos that we'll start marketing within the next couple of months. One is called Endless Referrals, the Go-Giver Way, and one is called Genuine Influence, the Go-Giver Way. So those 3 channels, if you will, those 3 areas is where we'll be growing our business.
Oh, wonderful. That's amazing. I wish you all the best on this next
Thank
couple
you.
of months on creating those videos. So why creating influence, especially for entrepreneur? I picked a few words from here. Why for entrepreneur creating influence is so important for their business growth?
Well, you know, I mean, what is influence? When you think about it, influence is the ability to move a person or persons to a desired action, usually within the context of a specific goal. Now, that's the definition. I've never thought that was the essence of influence, though. The essence of influence is pull as opposed to push. it's sort of like the question, how far can you push a rope? And the answer is not very far, at least not very fast or very effectively, but you can pull a rope, right? And so great influencers don't push. They're not pushy. They don't try to push their will on others. Instead, they gently pull people. They attract people to themselves and then to their ideas. And influence is always something that has had a special, really a great meaning to me, because I've seen that as important as technical skills are, and they are very important, it's people skills that are really the difference maker, that are the determining factor between those people who achieve reasonable levels of success and that person who achieves and attains enormous levels of success and achievement and kind of seems to have the world just eating out of their hands. And we've all seen both types, right? The person who, again, has had some real legitimate success, yet they're constantly bypassed, whether it's beginning an entrepreneurial venture or climbing the corporate ladder or landing the big sale, the huge new account. They're bypassed by that person who just seems to have a knack of eliciting other people's trust, agreement, and commitment. Well, it's really not necessarily a knack. It's more a learned set of skills. And when we genuinely and authentically care about bringing value to others, and we combine that benevolent intent with a learned set of influence skills, it's a very powerful combination.
Yes, I happen to agree with that one. Thank you so much. So, Bob, running a business or life is like a roller coaster. Sometimes it's going up and sometimes it's going down. So what keeps you going in a down moment?
Well, it's a great question, because I don't think down moments are very fun, and I'm not the type to say so. Well, I just say to myself, that's part of life, and that's because I don't. Well, down moments are down, But I think if you have a real purpose for why you're doing things, I think what happens is you can acknowledge the down moments and allow them to be, not necessarily fight those down moments. Just realize they're there and they feel yucky, they feel lousy. But then because you have a big enough mission for what you're doing, you kind of get over it, you get past it, and then you get back and you do what you need to do.
Wonderful. Wonderful. How the Growth Hacking Show community is, people who are watching this right now can support you?
Well, they're always willing to visit my website, which is thegogiver.com, without the hyphen, thegogiver.com, or they can go to Burg, BURG.com. Either of those sites have a lot of resources on them. At thegogiver.com, they can subscribe to the podcast. They can find information on the Facebook Live, and they can get a free chapter of the book so they can see if they like it first and then click through if they like. So, yeah, we welcome people to come to thegogiver.com and have some fun.
Thank you. So now you heard it directly from Bob Burg, from our mutual guest. So go ahead on the website, look at it. There's so much. Just enter your name and email, and you can get especially the free chapters and start learning. And I would say subscribe to the podcast, because I have seen few of them as immense value. And you know what? You want to learn it ongoing basis. That's how you become a good student, because that's why we can learn for life, So Bob, as we are about to wrap up, what would you say as a final word?
Well, I mean, I would just say that to the degree that we can always keep our focus, that we can ask ourselves the question: is what I'm about to do, is what I'm about to say, is what I'm about to tweet, is what I'm about to post, is it something that is going to bring value to the lives of others? And I think if we keep our focus there, we're always on the right path.
Once we do that one, social media will be only 20% content.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bob, for sharing your wisdom with us today. On the behalf of Growth Hacking Show community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia, wishing you good luck, good sales, and I do hope our paths cross again with another amazing guest. Until then, all best wishes.